Welcome everyone to Real Talk San Mateo. We're just going to wait a couple minutes for the rest of the crowd to come in and get settled. Thank you for your patience. So welcome everyone. Welcome to Real Talk San Mateo. Tonight we're going to be talking about our patrol division. It's a really great opportunity for our community to get involved, learn about our patrol division, ask any question that you may have about what our patrol officers do on a daily basis, and participate in the conversation. This is our second season of Real Talk San Mateo. It was well received and wildly successful last year. We decided to bring it back, and we have a bunch of different topics that we're going to be talking about throughout this entire year. So make sure that if you haven't had an opportunity to go onto our police accountability page or onto our YouTube channel and take a look at all the other conversations that we've had over the past year, and stay tuned and stay connected for any future conversations. Tonight, you're going to hear from our police chief and the field operations division command staff. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our police chief, Ed Barberini.
Thank you, Michael, and good evening and welcome to Real Talk. As Michael mentioned, Real Talk is part of a larger effort for us to be as communicative and open with the community as we can. That's important to us to have a well-informed city that I firmly believe that contributes to the safety and security of all of us. And we frankly like for you to know what we're doing and what we're all about. And this gives us an opportunity to do that. I'm often the face of the department and I'm asked to speak publicly. I'm going to try to limit that tonight so you can hear from people who actually are more involved in the day-to-day in our patrol division. I would encourage you, though, as I mentioned, this is just one small part of our effort to be as open and transparent as we can, excuse me. Michael mentioned our police accountability page. I would encourage you to visit that page. We've made some new recent additions that can be accessed from that page that we're kind of excited about. And we'd also like some feedback from the public to see how we can make this better. Specifically, our data transparency page, where you can research crime reports, types of calls for service, use of force issues, all types of information is available through that page. It's very user-friendly, I believe, and it can be manipulated quite easily to look for data that you may be interested in. So we encourage you to take a look at that page and give us some feedback about how we can make that better. Along the same lines is our Safe Streets page, and that's a collaborative effort with Public Works and our IT folks here in the city. And it provides some, what I believe to be some pretty good information regarding traffic collision information that occurs throughout the city. It's as close as we can get to providing real-time information with some specifics. We're looking to expand that to clearly articulate our enforcement efforts as well. So look for that down the road. It's not for a lack of want at this point. It's just for us to climb through some IT hurdles to give us the capacity to do that. So please take a look at those pages, and we'd be interested to know what you think about our efforts there. Same thing with our Real Talk episodes. We've changed the format up a little bit each month and tried to make it as interesting and relevant and applicable as possible. Should you have any suggestions for whether a format or subject matter or specific area that you'd like to learn more about, and you think that your neighbors would too, please don't hesitate to let us know, and we'll make every effort to do that. Tonight, as Michael mentioned, we're going to focus on one particular area within our department. Our department is areas. We call them divisions on our organizational chart. I think we're going to throw that up there if we're able to. If not, I will talk about them. One of our divisions is called the Support Services Division. And within that division, we have the detectives. We have all of our personnel related management requirements, training, hiring, recruitment, all those types of things, as well as I mentioned our detective bureau. So that's one division in itself. A second division is our Communications and Records Division, and that includes our entire 911 dispatch center, all of our police records personnel, as well as our evidence and property folks. And our third division, and the one we're going to talk about tonight, is what we call our Field Operations Division. And the bulk of that division is our patrol staff. It's the police officers you see every day out driving patrol cars around and answering calls for service throughout the city. It also includes, there it is. It also, so the Sports Service Division I mentioned is on the far left. Our Records and Communications Division is in the center there. And our focus tonight is going to be on the division you see to the far right that says Field Operations Captain. And again, the bulk of that is our patrol folks. We do have some other specialized units, including our traffic unit, our crime reduction unit, which is a proactive unit that allows officers to assume a little bit of more proactive approach to crime rather than just answering radio calls. And then other units such as our downtown unit. So we'll learn a little bit about that tonight. Each of these divisions is managed by somebody. The Support Services Division is managed by a police captain. Our Records and Communications Division is managed by what we call a civilian or a non-sworn manager. She's the equivalent now of a police captain, and her expertise is extremely valuable. And so there's no reason to put somebody who doesn't know what the heck they're doing in charge of that division. So we are lucky to have a strong leader in that division. And over on the far right, we have another police captain that manages our field operations, or sometimes called the patrol division. And I am going to introduce that captain right now. That captain is Captain Dave Perezaro. Dave's going to let you in on a little bit of information regarding how his division works, how it's structured, how it operates on a day-to-day basis, and then he's going to introduce some of the lieutenants that work for him in that area. So Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. We're very excited to talk about field operations. As the Chief said, my name is Dave Perezaro. I'm the Field Operations Captain. I've been with the City of San Mateo in the Police Department for 24 years. Born and raised here in the City of San Mateo, still reside in San Mateo, and I attended Sarah High School. Just to talk about patrol a little bit, as the Chief touched upon, the patrol is really the backbone of the police department. Basically every uniformed personnel that you see, all the marked police cars, basically I'm responsible. I manage all the uniformed personnel. We're extremely fortunate here in the City of San Mateo that we do have a very group of diverse officers, men and women, who are very dedicated to supporting and serving the residents of San Mateo, just the City of San Mateo in general. As the chief kind of touched upon, basically we handle routine calls for service, emergency calls for service. And in the downtime when they're not handling those calls for service and writing reports, they're driving around doing self-initiated activity, proactive behavior, or productivity, and just really trying to focus on to deter criminal activity or to apprehend any crimes that are in progress, especially in the wee hours of the night. That basically is the patrol division in a nutshell. As there's other divisions that fall under field operations, as the chief said, the downtown unit, we call it DTU. That's what I'll discuss next. Basically, these downtown unit focuses on the downtown corridor and the businesses there, dealing with entertainment permits, just quality of life issues downtown. They work very closely with, they're part of our homeless outreach team. They deal with an organization called Life Moves. And unfortunately with, COVID and due to other circumstances, there has been unfortunately an uptick in homeless issues, homeless type issues. And so they work on a day-to-day basis with our homeless population, trying to give them the resources for them to get back on their feet. And so, they don't just focus on the downtown corridor for that. They focus that on the city of San Mateo, whether it's the south end of town or whatever part of town that, those issues are arising, that they kind of spread the resources. They are a foot walking detail. They're also a bike patrol. They're all certified to ride the bicycles. But really they focus on just making the downtown corridor a safer place for the merchants, customers downtown, and just the citizens in general. Shooting over to our traffic unit, our motor unit. As most of you probably know, probably the #1 complaint across the city of San Mateo and most cities in general is traffic. We have a very dedicated group of motor officers that are out there on a daily basis, working to make the streets of San Mateo and just the travel in San Mateo safer. As the chief mentioned, the accident data map, this basically, it provides detailed traffic collision information. And this information allows us to focus our resources in a way that really makes our streets safer through public education, police enforcement, and public works engineering. The traffic collision data map went live in January, and this enables the residents to see where and what type of collisions occurred in the city over the last 3 years. Jumping, and you can find that on the City of San Mateo website. The crime reduction unit, which the chief mentioned, is really kind of the Swiss Army knife of the police department. They're the jack of all trades. Whatever the flavor of the week is, the flavor of the month, they address those issues. It's a plain clothes and a uniformed unit, depending on what their operation is for the day. They focus on, they're a street crimes team, so they focus on gang suppression, narcotics trafficking and narcotic users, human trafficking, property crimes, and just kind of whatever seems to be the hot topic that's plaguing the city. Our canine division, we currently have 3 dogs, Henry, Harry, and Elvis. We're working to get a 4th dog out there on the streets, but they are housed in the patrol division. Our SWAT team, the San Mateo PD, is part of the North Central Regional SWAT team. It's made up of 7 cities: San Mateo PD, Foster City, Hillsborough, Burlingame, South San Francisco, San Bruno, and Brisbane. As the chief previously discussed, for the area lieutenants, we have the city broken up into 3 geographical areas. Area 1 is Lieutenant Monahan. He handles north of Highway 92, west of Highway 101. That was Area 1. Area 2 is Lieutenant Art Sanchez. He handles everything south of Highway 92, west of Highway 101. And then there's Area 3, which is Lieutenant Matt Earnshaw, who handles everything east of Highway 101 and the downtown corridor. With that being said, I will pass off to Lieutenant Ryan Monahan, who's the Area 1 Lieutenant, and he will fill you in further on Area 1. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great night. Thank you.
All right, everyone, welcome. My name is Ryan Monahan. I am the area lieutenant for Area 1. And I am also, like Captain Perezaro, I have deep roots here in San Mateo. I attended Serra High School, so I was another Serra Padre. As a matter of fact, myself, Captain Perezzaro, and Lieutenant Earnshaw, who will be talking to you soon, all went to high school together. So we've got some ties that go way back. I also started working for the city of San Mateo over 30 years ago with the Park and Recreation Department. So again, the ties to this city are deep, and it's been an honor to work for this city over the past almost 27 years now. So I wanted to just touch on a couple things with you guys. The first thing is kind of who do I meet with most frequently? We have a bunch of homeowner groups within my area. The ones that are most active and at least kind of inviting the police department to meetings and so forth are the Homeowners Association of North Central San Mateo, up there in North Central San Mateo. We also have the Baywood Owners Improvement Association for the Baywood area. They're also pretty active. And then just as of recently, the Sunnybray area formed a new neighborhood association. And they've reached out to me. I've gone to a couple of their meetings. So with that being said, I always put this out there that I'm available to go to any meetings, whether it's me or in my absence, someone else, an officer that works that area, or perhaps a sergeant. So I always want to make sure that you guys know that invitation is a standing invitation. That being said, in terms of what we're seeing in my area, in crime trends, or what are the types of complaints that I'm getting. Primarily what we're seeing in terms of trends is we've seen a shift in some of our property crimes, auto burglaries specifically, and thefts from vehicles. Previously, the areas hit the hardest with those were our heavily populated parking lots, the shopping malls, downtown area. Well, COVID's kind of changed the game. And what we've seen is folks that would maybe otherwise target parking lots and other public areas kind of migrating into residential areas. Again, these are kind of scattered patterns. We really haven't seen, from time to time, we may see one area that gets hit in one night and then we address it immediately, but it seems like they just kind of move around a different area. So it's not really, it's more of a scattered pattern. That being said, most important thing and message that we always want to get out to you guys is to help protect yourselves. Don't leave car doors unlocked. That makes an easy target for some folks. So lock the car doors, remove valuables, remove anything in the car that might otherwise indicate that perhaps there's valuables in the car. Good lighting around your house, and cameras. We can't speak enough about cameras. The reason why cameras are important is, yes, they can serve as not only a deterrent, but after a crime happens, it exponentially increases our ability to potentially identify who might be responsible. Other than that, the things that I get a lot of concerns from the community about is obviously traffic related things. We have as Captain Peruzzaro pointed out, a traffic unit that we're able to deploy to those different issues and address fairly quickly, but it is probably our #1 complaint that we get around the city. So that's it for me from Area 1, and looking forward to speaking with you all some more tonight. Thank you.
Oh, do you guys see me? Okay, there we go. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Art Sanchez. I'm a police lieutenant with the San Mateo Police Department. I've been with the department 29 years now. I am currently assigned to patrol, where I run and oversee half of the patrol operations on the 18 side. I am also your Area 2 lieutenant, and I've been doing that for probably about 5-6 years now. Area 2 is a very large area, and I'm just going to go over some of the landmarks that are on Area 2, and that includes the Hillsdale Mall, the San Mateo County Hospital, the Laurelwood Shopping Center, the Laurie Meadows Shopping Center, 25th Avenue Business District, and the College of San Mateo. I have also having a very large area. I have numerous homeowner associations in Area 2, and I'm just going to name off some of the more active, some of the more larger ones that I work with. And that'll be Laurelwood, HOA, Sugarloaf, Beresford, Hillsdale, HOA, Baywood Park, Bay Meadows, HOA, Lorrydale, HOA, San Mateo Village, Fiesta Gardens, and College Heights, just to name a few. I meet with these homeowners associations. It just depends on the HOA. Some I meet with quarterly, and we go over crime trends and safety tips. Others I meet with only once or twice a year, and then some I only meet with when there's a neighborhood issue or a quality of life issue affecting the neighborhood, and then I come in there and we work out some solutions. Historical issues in Area 2. Historically, Area 2 has led the city in a couple of categories. They're not good categories either. They are 488 from vehicles, that's what we call them, but they're thefts from unlocked vehicles. That's something that you just heard Lieutenant Monahan talk about, securing your vehicles, always making sure the windows are rolled up, always making sure that they're locked, even if you're going to go right back to your vehicle. That's something we lead the city in historically. And then coupled with that, it's the auto burglaries. So even when they are doing it, even when they're locking everything up, we sometimes see sprees of auto burglaries in Area 2. We also get our share of residential burglaries. And historically, we've gotten a lot of them from the houses that are under construction. So if you see one of your neighbors or someone on the block that has moved out because their house is getting remodeled, please keep an eye on those houses during the evening hours. What we see is that the burglars are coming. Once the contractors leave, they're stealing the contractors' tools and taking whatever valuables they find within the house. Some of the current trends that are going on right now, something that I spend a lot of my time working with recently, is the Hillsdale Garden apartment and the crime and quality of life issues that have been going on in the surrounding areas. That's something that I've been working with Hillsdale Garden management, the surrounding neighborhoods, and then even my bosses have been talking with Excess Management Company who owns the Hillsdale Garden. And we're working with them, and we are making some positive strides in that area, but it's all work in progress, but it's definitely pointed in the right direction. Another thing that I've been dealing with a lot lately, and I think Lieutenant Monahan also touched on it, was the homeless population. I'm receiving a lot of complaints, and I'm working with a lot of the HOAs and businesses everywhere from 25th Avenue all the way to 41st Avenue on the El Camino. Seeing a lot of homeless out there, and you know, some of the things that when they set up shop, you know, the littering, sometimes drinking in public, and those type of crimes. But we're also I'm working with our own homeless outreach team that we have in the city of San Mateo with the San Mateo Police Department. They work in conjunction with the county homeless outreach team, and also with Life Moves. That was something that Lieutenant Monahan talked about. Not just going out there and doing enforcement, but trying to find some long-term solutions and trying to get temporary housing and long-term housing for our transient population. The top 3 crime trends right now in Area 2, guess what number 1 is? Okay, I'll tell you. Petty theft from vehicles. I mean, I got a lot of trusting citizens that live in Area 2, you know, with a lot of good people. But sometimes we're still leaving our cars unlocked and our windows down, and we're leaving valuables inside of it. And we just need to tighten up in that respect. Number 2 is stolen vehicles being stolen. And then last but not least, on the top 3 is thefts of catalytic converters. Also, one of the biggest complaints in Area 2 is traffic. I think traffic is the #1 complaint throughout the city of San Mateo, be it speeders, be it people running stop signs at certain intersections. And that is something we work with the Traffic Bureau to try to get a handle on that. That's Area 2 in a nutshell, and I look forward to answering any questions you guys have in the question answer portion. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Earnshaw. I'm a lieutenant here, San Mateo, and I am currently in charge of or overseeing our administrative functions here, such as scheduling to make sure we have enough officers on the street to be out there serving you. And I also oversee our traffic unit, our downtown unit, and our crime reduction unit. And then I am also the Area 3 commander. I've been here with San Mateo for about 22 and a half years. I grew up locally, and I did, as Lieutenant Monahan mentioned, I also attended Sarah High School. My in-laws still live here in town, and they sent all three of their children to Hillsdale High School. So we have some deep roots here in San Mateo, and it's been a pleasure serving the city for the last 22 and a half years. Area 3 is kind of a little quirky because we include our downtown, and that's because I oversee the downtown unit. So we consider our downtown unit kind of its own little thing, but we throw it into Area 3, and I add it on to my duties. But Area 3 goes from Coyote Point. It's on the east side of our city, all east of 101. And it goes from Coyote Point all the way down to Los Prados Park. And it includes Seal Point Park, it includes Mariners Island and Marina Plaza and the Fish Market and Parkside Plaza. A lot of great neighborhoods, a lot of good schools in that area that we deal with. Some of the main issues that I see that come in, as everyone has said, is the traffic complaints. We have a lot of speeding. Norfolk is considered a raceway a lot of times. So this year we took our traffic unit and we no longer attach them to patrol as a number of officers on the street. So we have a unit now that for 3 of the 5 days, Monday through Friday, we have 5 traffic officers out there, as well as a traffic sergeant who rides a motorcycle. And they go out and they attack certain issues in the neighborhood. And we've had a lot of success in all of our areas, and especially in Area 3. This year too, our traffic officers are actually assigned to an area lieutenant. So our traffic officers are taking it upon themselves to work with the area lieutenants and address the certain problems that come in with the traffic issues. Our traditional areas of concern on Area 3 are, we've had some gang issues over the years in the Rogel Court area in North Shoreview. And then also a lot of certain types of thefts from vehicles, as mentioned before, and then and stolen vehicles, but also our Bridgepoint area, our shopping center, and then into Mariners Island and also a Parkside Plaza where the fish market is. And traditionally, kind of pre-COVID times, we get a lot of traffic into those when people are at the restaurants. We've worked with the shopping center and the restaurants to put up cameras in the parking lots to kind of help us. And it has helped deter, but it really, we need the help from everybody. Make sure you're locking doors, not leaving laptops, not leaving certain things sitting on your seats when you do go in to visit these restaurants or shopping centers. I think one of the interesting things, or one of the attractive things for these people who want to come into our town and do thefts, is because we are pretty accessible from the freeways, from 101 and 92, and they're able to come in, steal a vehicle, break into vehicles. So we have to make sure those things are locked up. And Lieutenant Monahan mentioned the camera system. Our city does have a Nest program. And if you do have cameras on your house, we would encourage you to register those cameras on our website. And we can, we'll at least know where the cameras are. And we've used them many times to actually go in and help us solve crimes. We're able to track things down. So I think on your screen is just how to register, and it is on our website. And we're here to help you. And I am looking forward to speaking with anyone who has any questions for me in a little bit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lieutenant Earnshaw, and thank you to our command staff members who've taken time out of their day. we actually have a couple of command staff members that are at home with their families. And so we really appreciate you taking time away from your family to engage with the citizens of San Mateo. I've been in law enforcement for about 14 years, and I can tell you, you've got some really talented command staff members who are serving you here in the city of San Mateo. We're really fortunate that they're on this Real Talk San Mateo episode. So, you know, this is your opportunity. We've reached the Q&A section of Real Talk. There's a function, a couple of different ways that you can ask your question. There's a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. If you just click on it, ask your question. We have a moderator helping us get those questions pushed to the top, or she may end up answering them directly to you. You can raise your hand so that we can hear from you here on this call. And or you can send us an email if you're viewing this live on our various social media platforms. Feel free to email us at pdpio@cityofsanmateo.org. That's pdpio@cityofsanmateo.org. We did receive a question beforehand through that email, and it's directed at Area 2, so Lieutenant Earnshaw. However, anyone can jump in and provide some feedback on it. This resident was talking about residential burglaries in their neighborhood. And he was asking, what are some ways that they can prevent burglaries or protect themselves and protect, you know, their families and their homes from being burglarized? And he also wanted to speak to, you know, burglaries that may have been happening in Hillsborough too, and if they were connected. So I'd like to turn this question over to Lieutenant Sanchez.
Yeah, I am aware of that question that came up. So let's talk about what we call hardening our targets there. When we say hardening our targets, we're talking about our houses, we're talking about our vehicles. When it comes to the residential burglaries, the burglars are looking and they're trying to find a home that's obviously unoccupied. So what you want to do is, even if when you're not home, try to make it appear that someone is home. So if you have an extra car and it's parked in the garage, park it in the driveway. That's one thing I would do. You want to try to leave a light on if it's in the evening, again, to make it look like there's someone here. Maybe leave a radio on so there's voices inside the house. If you have a dog, that's great. It does happen from time to time, but it's awfully rare that there's residential burglaries where there's a dog, where a dog is present in or outside in the backyard. What else? I have some notes here. Alarm systems are extremely helpful. Even if you don't have an alarm, if you could get some sort of alarm sign and put it in the front yard and in the backyard and put some stickers on your windows, you're hardening your target again. Burglars are going to come look. There's going to be a car in the driveway. There's going to be some sort of security system. Hopefully, you can invest in some cameras. You can buy some cheap cameras and put them up. Or if you want to invest a little bit more, you could do that and have it installed by an alarm company. Either way, when it comes to, we strongly suggest alarm systems and cameras, because A, it's a deterrent, and then B, if it does happen and a crime does occur, we have some footage of who to look for and who to go after and where to start our investigation. Keep all your doors, all your windows, all your areas of entry locked. Keep your blinds closed, keep your curtains closed. The crooks are going to be trying to look into your house, see if you're there. They may ring the doorbell to see if anyone answers. If you are home, you don't have to open the door, but you can, through the door, ask who it is or tell them you're not interested. You want people to know that there's someone there, or at least appear that there's someone there, so they don't try to make entry into your house. Mike, what was the second part of the question besides the home security, home safety?
The second part was just about how, we neighbor with different cities and, the crimes that may happen, the similar crimes that may happen within those cities.
Right. So what we find frequently is that there's a subject, or there's groups of people that go out and they commit crimes. And right now we're talking residential burglaries. So they'll go and hit several houses at once, and it may be in the same area and it may not. And they don't care about the boundaries of San Mateo to Belmont, San Mateo to Hillsborough, San Mateo to Burlingame, San Mateo to Foster City. They just go where they believe it's a target-rich environment and where they could get away with the crime without getting arrested. So they do move around. They are mobile. It's not uncommon to see these groups or these crews work the entire peninsula, or work from San Jose to San Francisco and then over to the East Bay. It's really common. And what we do as law enforcement agencies is that we keep in tabs and we keep in touch with other jurisdictions, and we put information out to throughout the Bay Area. And then we also have our detectives and our teams like crew working with other proactive law enforcement teams and trying to put it all together and trying to make arrests. I hope that answered the question. If one of the other lieutenants want to jump in, that's fine too.
Actually, Lieutenant Sanchez, can I jump in there? It's Dave Perezaro. Hey, just to add on to what Lieutenant Sanchez was saying, when we address these issues, we don't just solve this and work on it as San Mateo PD. We have, through San Mateo County, we have the San Mateo County Narcotics Task Force. We have a vehicle theft task force. We have a gang task force. So we aren't afraid to reach out and tap all of these resources that make themselves available to us. They bring us officers, more technology. It's just more of a collaborative effort throughout the counties that we all work together to solve the issues within San Mateo County and the city of San Mateo. I just wanted to add that we do have those resources available.
That's a great point. Thank you. Is there anyone else?
I'll just add in one thing. In my former assignment prior to being your area lieutenant, I was the investigations commander. So I saw a lot of the cases in the aftermath of these auto burglaries. San Mateo takes a very proactive stance to a lot of these cases, probably more so than maybe some of the larger cities around us that just are having a tough time keeping up with the amount of property crimes. And what we saw, definitely the cameras, can't speak to that enough. Our detectives did an outstanding job. We talked about collaboration with other agencies. If we can get a good still shot off a camera of, especially if your cameras face the front of your house and have a wide angle, oftentimes we can get that and use that image of the suspect, or perhaps a suspect vehicle with a license plate, depending on the quality of your camera. We have tools that we can use to help improve the quality of the image so that we can get a license plate and follow up on it. But it is definitely a regional approach, because we're constantly sharing that information with other agencies. And what we're finding, because a lot of these crews do, as Lieutenant Sanchez mentioned, and then I think as Lieutenant Earnshaw alluded, it's very easy to get in and out of San Mateo, whether you're crossing over the San Mateo Bridge or coming north or south on Highway 101. What we found is that when we get still shots or video, we can share that with other agencies, and we find that other agencies oftentimes have had contacts with these individuals or have had similar type crimes, and us working together exponentially increases our likelihood of catching the folks that are responsible.
Great, thank you, sir.
Mike, can I say just something real quick, just to
Absolutely.
follow up on, I think it was mentioned earlier, the CEPTED, it's crime prevention through environmental design. I attended a course years ago and brought back a lot of information that could help. So please contact us and we can do a walk through your property if you want, and just kind of give you some ideas of what can make the property safer.
Great point. CEPTED is a great resource. I'm one of the advanced CEPTED practitioners in our department too, and I can't speak highly enough about it. It's a great resource for us. And one thing I wanted to mention about our Neighborhood Eyes security team, which is our NEST program. It's what we ask our residents to register their security cameras on. It's essentially just a database. We have no way of accessing your cameras just because you register. It's a way of us just knowing, hey, there is a camera located at 200 Franklin Parkway. And that way our detectives, or officers, when they're doing a canvass, they'll know that there's a camera there and they'll be able to just call you in case you weren't home, and we'll be able to see it on a private map that we have internally. So it helps us tremendously. Again, we have no access to it. We would have to come to your house, or you'd have to provide us access through a link or something like that. So thank you everyone for your contribution. And thank you, sir, for that.
Mike, can I add just one last thing on this? Because I think we're just missing this one last thing. We need the community. We're asking all of you to be our eyes and ears out there. Get to know your neighbors, join Neighborhood Watch, get active in your homeowners association, and you know better than we do. You know who belongs in that neighborhood, who doesn't belong in that neighborhood. And if you see something, we're asking you to say something, reach out, give us a call. We're out there, we're working hard, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need your assistance on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's all about the collaborative effort with the community. We need the community just as equally as they need us to keep San Mateo safe. Thank you all for answering that question, and thank you, sir, for sending it to us. I see you logged on here, so if you have any follow-up questions, please raise your hand. Again, if you have any questions for our command staff members, please go ahead and raise your hand or use the Q&A feature that we have. I'd like to allow Richard Hedges to ask his question. So if you can, just unmute yourself, Mr. Hedges, and ask the question.
Yes, thank you. Question, but first a statement. Excuse me. I'm the Vice President of our citywide Neighborhood Watch Board, and I want to thank you for mentioning Neighborhood Watch and encourage everybody to get involved with Neighborhood Watch. It's very easy. It's not a lot of difficulty. You just contact the police department. We can get some information to you. Thank you. I'm hopeful that this is being recorded and we can get a link to it. I've got around 700 people in my neighborhood on email, and I would like to get this out for those people that didn't have time to log on tonight.
Yes, it will be recorded, and it'll be on our police accountability page and YouTube and Facebook. So we'll be sure to send out a press release with the link as well.
Okay, I appreciate that very much. Thank you, and thanks for this. You guys do a wonderful job. Our police department's catching everybody else's criminals. I read about you constantly and get reports at Neighborhood Watch meetings. So thanks.
Our pleasure. Did you have a question for us, Mr. Hedges?
That was my question, the link.
Great. Yeah, we'll have it on there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and next question is from Drew. I'm going to allow you to talk. You can just unmute.
Hello there. So a couple items, a couple questions, going to try to blast through it to save time. First, just over the years, I've had a number of interactions with a number of San Mateo police staff, and just have appreciated over the many years the excellent interactions. So I thank you for that. So a couple kind of idea type stuff. One is like, I hear about the security cameras, and part of it, like it would be maybe as a topic, just one of these talks is like a Q&A session about that, because there's different models. I debate what to get, and I would just love to have the police side of like, well, we've found this is very difficult to get the images off of this one, or this is easy, or just some, without recommending necessarily any particular thing, but just maybe a deep dive on that would be helpful, because I would value getting something that's like, that would be one of my criterias. And then on communication, like I think how the stuff works with Nexel and the email and the alerts, like actually works really well. But I missed the Hillsdale. There was a special thing about the Hillsdale area a while back, and I missed that one. And that one would have been, I'm definitely impacted by some of what's going on in this area, and I would have loved to get that. So somehow that one didn't go through, I think, the normal flow. I think maybe I missed it, but for noticing. And then, so the safe streets and some of that, the collisions, what I was kind of wondering, it's probably a Pandora's box, but what about near misses? Because this comes up in public works meetings and other stuff. People say, well, you're not capturing because no one got hurt, or no one reported the accident, or no one this. And a way to, not that that takes a priority, but some way that if people reported near misses or somehow that could get captured somehow. I don't know, maybe it can't, but and then I guess this gets to my one question. Maybe later, if there's no other questions, I'll come back. But if, like, I had a correspondence with I think a sergeant, I'm not entirely sure his rank, and I never heard back, and I just wondered, out of that, in part, is the protocol that I should be copying the PIO on any correspondence and stuff type of thing. And that way, because there's like a public interaction, it's in email, is there just some protocol that just because of that, it needs to be copied in the information officer? So that's really probably my one question. The rest were just suggestions. Thank you very much for this.
Great, thank you. I know I can answer one of those questions and I can direct it to the rest of the command staff, but regarding the Hillsdale Gardens, we have a police accountability webpage that we stood up, and in there are all of our virtual discussions, and all those virtual discussions are on our YouTube channel. So we posted it that night. So if you go onto our YouTube channel or you go onto our police accountability page, you'll be able to see that that discussion that we had with Hillsdale. And then about the email, I'd like to pass that off to Captain Perezaro if he wanted to talk about protocol, and when you do have a question about patrol, who should you be contacting about that?
Thanks, Michael. Well, I apologize that there was no contact, and then that you never got that satisfaction. That's not something, usually we pride ourselves in customer service, and we pride ourselves in getting back to people in communication. That's what our business is all about. If that problem were to arise again, sometimes you have to, they work, patrol works a rotating 4-day on, 4-day off schedule. So if you catch them on the first day off, sometimes there will be a lag time in the response time. But for there to be no response, I deem that as unacceptable. I will be talking to our staff and give a friendly reminder. But if that should happen again, if you can just go ahead and give that, whether it's an officer or a sergeant, if you give them a couple opportunities or enough time to get back to you. If they don't, my recommendation would be to call and to speak to their supervisor, to their lieutenant. And for some reason, if that lieutenant is on their days off or whatnot, I am always here. You can always ask dispatch to be put through to Captain Perozzaro. I am more than happy to take that call on and to find out, to try to get you an answer, to get some resolution, and to talk to whoever the involved party is from the PD to explain the need for the callback. So like I say, we do pride ourselves in customer service here at the City of San Mateo. And that's something that I will give a reminder to, but you can always feel free to work it up the chain of command and patrol. Our PIO, Michael Haobsh, is extremely busy, and not that we aren't in patrol, but we like to take care of things in our shop when we can to resolve the matter.
Thank you. And our PDPIO email address is monitored 24 hours a day. Even when one of us is on vacation, there's always a public information officer that's receiving those emails. So you could use us as a resource, and we could get it to the right person also, because sometimes someone may be on vacation or on their off days, like Captain Peruzzaro mentioned. You had a question about traffic, Drew?
I guess I'm still not muted.
Yeah, so still on.
Sorry. I think that the traffic thing maybe was around just how to capture near misses type of thing in some of this data. Like, I tried to look on the collision thing, and my browser maybe wasn't working because I couldn't get any collisions to show up. So I assume there's something I didn't get turned on in JavaScript right, or something for the GIS map. But there's areas that I've heard people complain about, like, oh, people almost get hit here, people almost get hit there. and it's not scientific in a way. So but there probably are some areas that don't get captured right because, like you could think of it like a sidewalk. I was thinking this, there's a sidewalk area, people stub their toes. A lot of people stub their toe because they trip, but they don't fall. And so it never gets fixed unless someone says anything until someone really falls. And so there might be an area that's always causing a lot of problems, but there's never been a major problem and it never gets fixed. It's a minor fix versus there's a different area, it has happened once or twice and it gets all the attention. So it's just how to capture some of those without opening up a hornet's nest of like, well, every area is a problem in the city.
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. One thing, our next series, and I'll talk about this later, but with our Real Talk San Mateo series continuing throughout the year, next month's topic is actually going to be focused on traffic. And so we're going to have traffic experts on there. We'll have public works in addition to our command staff members. So we'll likely be talking about this too, but just to answer the question that you had, I'm going to pass it off to Lieutenant Earnshaw. He was part of the team that created that traffic map, the transparency map. I'll have him speak to it about the near misses and why we can't have it on there.
Yeah, thank you, Drew, for the question. It's actually come up a lot about near misses and near accidents. And truth be told, it's hard. If people aren't reporting things, then we don't have a way of tracking. So what we're doing this year with having a traffic unit separated out of patrol, we have a group of motor officers working daily together, and they're coming up with their own traffic plan. So I highly encourage everybody to reach out to their area lieutenant, and then the area lieutenant will work with the area traffic officer, and our team will create a plan and try to address issues if they can kind of narrow down a location of those near misses, and then we can spend some time out there and coming up with a plan for us to monitor it and enforce.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you, Drew, for all your questions. We appreciate your engagement, your continued engagement with the city and the police department. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or utilize our Q&A function. We did receive a question from Martin Fox. Martin says that it's his understanding that the city of San Mateo is participating in the Community Wellness and Crisis Response Pilot Project. And he's curious if we're going to be participating in it as a city and how it's going to change things here in the city of San Mateo and in law enforcement. I'd like to turn that question over to Chief Barberini.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mr. Fox. I know we've talked many times about this, and as a police department, I think like every police department, we're always looking for opportunities to make ourselves better and to improve the level of service that we are providing to the communities that we do serve. Given that, we vet those opportunities fairly well, and we don't just kind of chase the new flavor of the day. There always seems sometime to be a new catchphrase or a new program, and we're very methodical, and we're very specific about those areas that we want to develop and get better. And we did have an opportunity to engage in a partnership with the county and 3 other cities to embed a mental health clinician in 4 police departments throughout the county, San Mateo being one of them. The other police departments are South San Francisco, Redwood City, and Daly City. And essentially, we're shooting for a start date sometime in late April or early May. The proposal has been vetted through all of our respective city councils and the county board of supervisors and been approved. And in summary, we believe it's going to be a worthwhile effort, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. But just a short version of it is that a county employee, an employee of the health department, specifically behavior health and recovery services, will be a licensed clinician, will be assigned to each of the 4 police departments that I mentioned, and they will respond to calls of mental health crisis or those who are experiencing some type of crisis with police officers. And the goal of this is to treat those mental health incidents like mental health incidents. And I'm going to be honest, our officers, and not just in San Mateo, but in our immediate area, I believe do a pretty good job in recognizing when individuals are experiencing they're in some type of mental health distress. And while we're not clinicians, we're not professionals in making diagnosis, we're pretty good at connecting those individuals with services and with some help. I think this just furthers that effort. Again, it is a pilot program, as Mr. Fox mentioned. Should it work well within the police departments that are going to be the first to implement it, we're hopeful that it becomes a larger program within the county, not just to include more police departments, but also to include the hours within the day that this service is available. Right now, we're looking at a traditional 40-hour work week for the clinician in each of those police departments. So, it'd be either a 4 10-hour day or a 5 8-hour day type of week. So we'll take a look at that. We already have some pretty extraordinary resources that we work with closely. We have what's called the Smart Car, which when we respond to calls where people are experiencing some type of mental health issue, but they're not necessarily violent, and there may not be a real safety issue, we can call the Smart Car that's managed by our ambulance service, AMR, and they can provide transportation and connect that person with mental health services. We also, as it was mentioned before, our homeless outreach team and our other nonprofit partners such as Star Vista do a great job of providing us with resources to provide to those who need them. And typically we don't get calls until it's a little too late in the situation. We very rarely get calls when there are early signs that somebody's having an issue. More often than not, we get the call because a person's family or loved ones simply can't deal with what's going on at the time, because there may be a threat or there may be some fear that there's going to be somebody that's hurt, or there's behavior that is just too much for them to handle. So that's what we're looking at, this co-response model to address. There are other models throughout the country that we've looked at. The most popular, I think, around here is the Cahoots model up in Oregon. And we looked at that, and we actually took pieces of that model and included it in our model. However, I think we have a different purpose. We are looking to get clinicians on site in real time with police officers. And I think that's, we're taking on a lot there. So that'll be interesting to see how it works out. I'm excited about it. I'm hopeful that it works well. The end goal is to limit the involvement of police officers when there's no crime involved. I mean, we're here to prevent crime, and we're here to keep people safe, and that's what we're tasked with doing. And whatever steps that are available to us that can advance that mission is what we're going to do. And we think this one is one that it may evolve, and it may look different a couple of years from now than it looks when it initially starts, and we'll see how that works out. But we're pretty excited about getting it going. So that's kind of just a quick summary. It's a very involved process, and we're still working through some final steps to get it done. But that's just a quick summary of what the program's about. And if there are questions or people would like more information, please let me know, and I will provide that to you.
All right, thank you, Chief. Again, anyone with questions, feel free to raise your hand. This is your opportunity to engage with us here at Real Talk San Mateo. We are accessible offline, also through email and phone call if you have any other questions. So I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any questions coming in through the Q&A or email. Oh, all right, just got one more question from Drew. All right, Drew, I'm going to allow you to talk, and if you could unmute.
Since no one else is asking any questions, I'll ask another question, but not trying to hog it. If there's other questions, that's fine. So one thing, I'm still a little confused on the okay, first, thank you for all the answers to the previous round. I do appreciate that. Can't reply thank you to each one individually, but thank you. So my question here is, or just I get a little confused with the alarm system stuff. Like conceptually, I understand like, okay, yep, it makes sense to do it. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, it's another bill I have to pay all the time. And is it really going to make a difference versus if I have cameras? Like I definitely plan to get camera system up and stuff. And so I'm like, is the alarm, like what's the benefit of the alarm? I guess I don't have a lot of possessions that are super critical. Maybe that's part of why I'm struggling with it. But if we kind of dive down a little bit more on why the alarm, if we have the camera system, security camera system set up and stuff. So just I'm thinking from a billing thing, because it's like, it's just another bill all the time to pay forever and ever. And like renters, you know, we've been talking too about homeowners. Like where I live, there's a lot of renters around and stuff, and they've got similar concerns. I even see some renters have put cameras on their apartments and stuff like that too. But yeah, anyway, so I'll shut up now. Thank you.
So just so I understand your question, why an alarm over a security camera system?
Not necessarily over, but there's a continuous emphasis to get the alarm. And I don't quite know what's the value of that if you have the security camera type stuff. Like why both? Like wouldn't the security camera basically that gets you like 90% value, and the alarms just these few, not as important. The security is like number one, but maybe that's
okay.
Yeah.
Who would like to tackle that question?
I can address it if I haven't talked too much already, Michael. So I understand the question. You know, you don't an alarm. You don't need it until you need it, I guess, is the response to that. And I'll let some of the area lieutenants jump in if they have something to add. But you know, it depends on your alarm system. You know, most alarm systems are established where you know, we'll get a call from the alarm company saying, hey, there's a problem at a particular address, and there may be some value to that. You know, that if you don't have an opportunity to call 911 in your home and you can hit an alarm, that will alert the police department. Or if there is some type of motion detector aspect or glass break, you know, window break, door jam type of alarm system, and you're not at home, the alarm company will notify the police department depending on who your subscriber is. It is a costly venture. I will acknowledge that. The camera aspect. I mean, the cameras do act as a deterrent, and I always tell people if you're going to get cameras, don't hide them. I mean, I know that as long as they're aesthetically pleasing to your house and they're not going to, you know, look awkward, don't make an extraordinary effort to hide them, because we want people to know you have cameras, because we're hoping that it will serve as a deterrent. But a camera is a reactive response measure if it's not serving as a deterrent, meaning that it serves some evidentiary value that we can look at that footage and it'll help us initiate some type of investigation. An alarm, on the other hand, may serve as more of a response model where we are alerted rather quickly about what's going on. So I'm with you. I know it's one of those things where, you know, you may never need it, and you pay that bill every month, but I mean, that would be the rationale. So I would never advise people who are interested to not get an alarm, but I recognize your question and what your concern is.
I would just, I'll just add to what the chief said, just from experience, both working in our investigations bureau and seeing residential burglaries, the follow up on them, and then as an area lieutenant, I look at it as kind of like a layered approach, Drew, that, you know, you have the cameras. There are some individuals that if they want something bad enough in your property, they may not be deterred by the cameras alone. So that's always a concern, because we've had cases where the people came into the house and looked right at the camera. Now, granted, they had hoods over their face, they had masks on, so they had ways to disguise their identity, and they used that to their advantage and still broke into houses where there was cameras. I would say that those are not the norm, because again, cameras for most folks are enough of a deterrent. But you look at it as an extra measure of security or a layered approach where you're hardening, as Lieutenant Sanchez mentioned, hardening that target as much as possible. I have a home alarm in our house, and we haven't had any issues with it, but it is, yes, it is a costly endeavor. However, it gives myself and my family just that extra sense of security along with the cameras that, you know, if something happens, it's going to alert the authorities, and we're going to get the police out here fairly quickly. So.
Great, thank you very much to both of you for answering that question. I'd like to dive into another question from Vicky Garrett. She asked it through the Q&A feature. Her question is about cyclists. So there's a group of irresponsible young bicycle riders disrupting traffic seems to be increasing. She wants to know if we have any plans about that, about addressing the issue. It may be a good opportunity for Lieutenant Earnshaw, who oversees our traffic division, to talk about our Safe Streets San Mateo campaign that's happening right now. Lieutenant Earnshaw?
Yes, thank you for the question. Our Public Works Department and our Police Department have been working together almost for a better part of a year, I believe, and coming up with a campaign to make sure and ensure that the safety of our streets is important, and you know, making sure the bike lanes and signage and everything is out there. We need our cyclists to wear helmets, and you know, once we become aware of certain issues, we'll send out our traffic unit and take a look, and our engineers in the Public Works Department are always working to make things safer. There's a lot of messaging going out through our city, through both our Public Works Department and our Police Department, you know, but you need to be aware. Please don't drive, walk, or even cycle distracted. So it's important that everybody does their part in the Safe Streets initiative. And, you know, the drivers need to slow down and go to the speed limits, and look for those pedestrians and cyclists that are in the roadways. Pedestrians need to look up before crossing the roads, especially, you know, at the crosswalks and intersections. But a lot of the time, even pedestrians will jump out between cars and go across the street, and we need to make sure the drivers are aware. And so staying undistracted will help us. And then our cyclists really need to follow the rules of the road. They need to use lights when it's at dark. And then most important is to wear that helmet. Our cyclists need to wear those helmets. And so we're trying to come up with better signage and even the street markers. I think you'll notice that you see that a lot now with the bike lanes and then even just pedestrian traffic. Did I answer that question for you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And if the person who asked that question, if you have a follow-up, feel free to submit it. Our next question is for Lieutenant Art Sanchez. We have a couple of different questions, and we can combine them into one. One talks about you know, someone who left their car. The anonymous attendee is saying, I left my car unlocked on accident and someone entered it and stole hidden cash and keys. They weren't sure whether or not to report it since it was on them for leaving it unlocked. What's the preferred course of action in this case? And then a follow-up on that, you know, if an incident does occur, what should the community expect to get a response or a call from an officer doing the investigation and finding out about the conclusion of it?
Yeah, so yeah, first off, so for the first part of the question, we always want you to call. We always want you to report it for a few different reasons. I mean, officers or community service officer could go out. We have the ability to dust for latent fingerprints, and also do a swab for touch DNA to try to possibly link up or to find an investigative lead or a suspect. But it also helps us with our data. If we see that there's a certain amount of crimes happening in the same geographical area, that lets me and my sergeants know, okay, we need to put some officers out in that area. So please always do report it. give us a call on the non-emergency police line, and then you could be directed, either an officer will call you on the phone, or a community service officer will call you on the phone, or they'll go out there, or you may be directed to report it online. In either one of those, please do it. It helps us to keep on top of trends. Second part, I think it depends on the type of investigation it is. I don't know, Mike, if maybe they could expound upon, like, if someone breaks into your car in the early morning hours, and you call us when you wake up, and we go out there and we do our thing, and we take a report, and we dust our prints, and we swab for DNA, we're going to submit everything. But for the most part, an officer isn't going to call you back unless maybe the swab or the latent prints come back, and maybe, you know, we get a suspect hit, or we end up arresting someone on it. Or down the line, you know, an officer pulls someone over or contacts someone, and they have suspicious property, and it comes back to the victim. Then we'll contact them. I think it just kind of depends. If it's a violent crime, I think you're going to have more contact from the investigating officer or the detective. So it just depends.
Yeah, it sounds like the person who was asking the question was more curious about follow-up, and just to kind of keep track of where their case is at within the justice system, et cetera. But it looks like she raised her hand. So Carrie Russell, I'm going to allow you to talk. If you can please unmute yourself.
Yes, definitely. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you for participating.
Okay, my question was just specifically on communication. I think that's key with you guys, communicating, and the police officers talking to us, talking to the kids in the community, talking to everybody. This incident happened January 30th, say. There was 2 major incidents that happened in my family alone. There was my husband's work van stolen at 7:48 in the morning. And then my son at 1 o'clock at lunchtime had a gun pulled on him downtown. So we reported that as January 30th. I spent a week waiting for the officer to call back, also talking to an attorney to see if there was anything we could do about assault charges for the older man pulling a gun on my kid, you know, my young man's face, you know, pointing it at him. And we honestly never got a call back. They went to go investigate it. What happened was there was a he said, she said kind of thing. And the officer didn't call us back to conclude that he actually did go up to the house, find the person 20 minutes later, 40 minutes later, and found out that there's, you know, in the other person's case, that this really didn't happen. All this time, it's taken days for my son to get over what he saw in his face. And so in the meantime, we're trying to heal. But it would have been nice if if that officer knew that within an hour or 2, I'm not even asking same day callback, but 2 to 3 days when the case is closed, the findings are what they are. Please let us know, the parties know, you know, because 2 to 3 days later, I'm thinking I need to get an attorney to pull the file or you know, I don't know. So that's all. It's just communication, and how long after it's completed, like the officer decided that's it, done, do they call? And it sounds like they don't call unless there's a positive print or a positive result or something, maybe. Go ahead.
Thank you I think clarifying that. Lieutenant Sanchez?
No, I was just going to say, no, in the case of something like that, I would expect an officer to follow up and follow through with it. Maybe we could take this offline. Maybe you could provide a case number to Officer Haobsh, or you know, just get it, and we'll route it to the proper lieutenant and figure out what the breakdown in communication was there.
Absolutely, and we'll reach out to Carrie right now and get her contact information so that we can follow up on that. Carrie, if you don't mind just sending it to us in the chat, or feel free to email us at pdpio@cityofsanmateo.org. Thank you. All right, we have another question from Romina. Romina, I'm going to allow you to talk. You can unmute yourself, please.
Hello.
Hi, Romina. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us.
Thanks for being here.
Just very quick. I used to live in San Mateo for a few years, and then we moved with my family to the East Bay, and then for 4 years, and we are very happy to be back. I ended up buying a house in a busy intersection, and now I notice how busy it is after living here for a month, which is fine. So mine is a specific question, but also a general question. So what I noticed living here for a month is that people, they don't, respect at all the speed limit, which I think it's not just here. I've been noticing in, next door and the videos that you post, but it happens in many areas of San Mateo. So that's one. And second is right on the corner, there's a crosswalk with lights and everything. No one stops. Even kids, old people trying to cross. There's a mom always crossing with a baby in her arms, and people just don't stop because they're too fast moving, too busy. So I know that there's probably a lot going on in San Mateo, and it's an honest question because I know that you guys probably have way more priorities than this. But my question is, when the time comes and someone can take a look at it, where or how should I address this, or let you guys know, what's going on and where? So again, when the time comes, you have a record of it and someone can do something about it.
Yeah, great question. Thank you very much. And welcome back to San Mateo.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Earnshaw, I'll pass this to you. And if you'd like to maybe talk about how they can contact us, I'll pull up the traffic and parking page, which has our email and phone number to reach out directly to our traffic division.
Yes. So as we mentioned earlier, our traffic officers are now assigned to a certain area of our city. We have one that's assigned to each area. And with the area lieutenant, you can send the information to our area lieutenant, and then they can discuss it with our traffic officers, and then they could develop a plan for those issues that you may be witnessing in that intersection. So please highlight, or you can contact our traffic sergeants directly or at the number below, and they will be able to get a hold of you. And they will be able to get a hold of you and listen to the issue, and then they can put together a plan with the traffic officers that we have out there Monday through Friday.
Excellent, thank you. All right, I'm not seeing any other hands raised or questions coming in through our Q&A. Before we do our closing remarks, I would just like to remind everyone, it's been brought up numerous times, and I'd like to invite everyone to join or participate in our Neighborhood Watch program. It is one of the most robust neighborhood watch programs in the entire county, and I encourage you to log on to our website, go into crime prevention and neighborhood watch. Read the block captain introduction letter. On that site, you'll also see contact information for your area lieutenant and the contact information for our neighborhood watch coordinator. It's a tremendous way just to partner with your neighbors, collaborate with the police department, and help us all keep San Mateo safe. Also, you want to stay connected with the police department. We have every social media platform out there right now. So, if you want to visit us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube is where you're going to find all of our videos, all of our Real Talk San Mateo series, also on our police accountability webpage within our department webpage. You'll see all the virtual discussions that we've had. And then you can also visit the police accountability page to dig into, you know, what we're providing, all the transparency that we're providing to the community, our data transparency within policing, which also shows the workforce diversity within the department members who serve you, and then also the traffic page. And if you're interested in obtaining a police report or submitting a Public Records Act request, you can do that on our online portal. It's very, very easy. And again, with our data transparency page and our Safe Streets San Mateo, which includes our traffic transparency page, highly recommend these. I don't think you'll find something like this around the Bay Area. We're one of the first agencies in the area to do something like this, and it's easily accessible, really easy to use. If you have any suggestions to make it better, we serve you. So we want to make it better. So please reach out to us and let us know. So with that, I'd like to ask our area lieutenants and our captain and our police chief just some closing remarks if you have for San Mateo before we wrap up this episode of Real Talk San Mateo. If we could start with Area 3, Lieutenant Matt Earnshaw.
Hi there, everybody. Thank you very much for tonight. It was informative, and I hope we actually provided you with some good information that you can take back and start using. And so please always reach out to your area lieutenants. We're here for you, and we will try to get our resources to the specific issues that you have. But please don't hesitate to email or call us at our phone lines. Thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you, Lieutenant Earnshaw. We can go to Area 2, Lieutenant Art Sanchez.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody just for participating, for being concerned with what's going on in our city and in our communities and neighborhoods here in San Mateo. And I just want to let you know that it's an absolute honor to protect and serve the citizens of San Mateo. And I'd like to wish you all a good night.
Thank you, Lieutenant Sanchez. Lieutenant Ryan Monahan.
I'd like to echo what Lieutenant Earnshaw and Lieutenant Sanchez said, and just thank all of you. Participation in things like this is critically important for us as a police department. You are our customers, you're our community, so knowing what your concerns are really helps to provide us with some wherewithal and in terms of where we should be focusing our attention. So thank you for that. Thank you for being engaged throughout my almost 27 years here. The thing that I enjoy the most is really interacting with our community. San Mateo's got a great and very much engaged community that very much wants to be part of the solution and help us out as a police department. And the success of any police department really hinges on the connection we have with our community and your level of comfort in reporting things to us and knowing that you're going to get a response from us. We do pride ourselves in customer service. So reach out if you have a question. My information's on the website. Please hit me up. If I can't answer it, I can oftentimes at least guide you in the right direction to the right person that can answer your question. And I look forward to engaging with all of you. And thank you all for being such an engaged community. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure for me to serve this community. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Captain Perezaro.
As everyone who spoke before me, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for participating on this call. Just the fact that you took the time to be here tonight shows that you care, that you're vested in this community. As each of the area lieutenants have said tonight, that this is a partnership. The police department, we cannot be successful. We can't solve these crimes without your help, without your eyes, without your ears. I want to remind each and every one of you, if there's an incident or a crime in progress or an incident that you want to call our attention to, just remember, if it's something that needs immediate attention, please call 911 or call the non-emergency number. But if it's more of a quality of life issue or something with a little less urgency, then I recommend that you go to your area lieutenant. But I just want to make sure that if it's something that's in progress or you need immediate attention, it's always best to start with the 911 or the non-emergency. But it's a pleasure to work for this community. I love San Mateo. We appreciate the partnership that we have with our community, and I feel very blessed to work with each and every one of you. So thanks again, and have a safe night.
Thank you, sir. And Chief Barberini, if you can take us home.
Take us home. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Michael. First, I'd like to thank you, Michael, for Officer Haobsh and Janine, who's hiding there behind the scenes, who make all of this happen. Another great night. So thanks for continuing to put these together. We appreciate that. I'd like to recognize our captain and lieutenants for taking the time to do this. This is important. It's important to us to communicate and be open with what we're serving. And these types of things do a lot to promote that. So thank you. You know, it's been kind of a tough year. I think that's kind of the understatement of the night. And I wanted to say thank you to all of those that are watching it, and not for the reasons that, I mean, your participation and all that is great, and we can't be successful without the safety and security of our city is a team effort, and we can't do it without one another. I want to thank you for the support you've shown us over the last year. You know, whether it's COVID, whether it's you know, civil unrest going on, a lot of uncertainty in our world. We continually get phone calls, emails, you know, even cookies and meals and stuff that are sent to the police department by those in our community to say thank you to our folks. And I'm continually impressed by that, knowing that the difficult time that everybody's going through, for folks to take the time and show their support really means a lot to all of us. And it we're all here for the right reasons, and it just reinforces why we're here and what we do. So thank you to all of you. Your support means the world to us, and keeps us going. With that, you know, this isn't our only avenue or venue to reach out to the community. It seems like we're spending our whole lives on Zoom, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I'll take what I can get. We talked a lot about homeowners association, neighborhood watch groups. If there are any HOAs or community groups or any type of group out there that you would like us to come and either just sit there and listen or talk about a particular topic, we'd be more than happy to. I think we're double booked tonight. I think Baywood's having a meeting, and we have one of our sergeants who's attending that meeting. We are always very willing and able to get out there and either listen and learn, or to engage in conversation, or to do some type of formal presentation. Whatever it is that you're looking for, we're happy to do it. We think it's an important part of what we do. Finally, you know, we talk about what we do, you know, and we're proud of what we do, but it's the men and women who are out there on patrol cars right now this evening and who work every day and night to ensure our safety and make sure that that we have the quality of life that we seek. And I couldn't be more proud of the folks that work for this organization and what they do. And I just didn't want the night to go by without letting them know that and how much I appreciate what they do. So thank you again. I think this is great. We look forward to next month, where we're going to have a conversation about traffic, which is always a fun and interesting one. And that's all I have. Please be safe. Have a good night. Weekend's coming up. The world's starting to open up a little bit more, which is a good sign. So thank you very much for everything that you do. And again, Michael and Janine, thanks for putting this on tonight. Well done.
Our pleasure. All right, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Real Talk San Mateo. Like the chief said, our next episode is going to be focused on traffic. Stay tuned on our social media channels, Nixel Next Door, for an announcement of when that's going to take place. And if we didn't answer your question tonight, or if you're watching this later on, as thousands of people have proven they do, please send us an email at pdpio@cityofsanmateo.org, or you can give us a call at 522-7626. We'll be happy to answer your questions. All right, thank you all, and have a good night. Stay safe.
Good night.
Good night.